What is good, YouTube? It's your boy 50K Clay. I am Clay Will, and we are back tapped in with yet another video, man. And today, my boy Drake has been going through it, man. We're gonna break down his lawsuit against UMG and everything that unfolded from that, and the potential ramifications that could have come from it had he been successful in his attempt. But before we get into that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe on the video. It really helps me a lot and it's helping the channel grow. We're so close to getting 1,000 subscribers, man. So please make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's get into the topic at hand. I'm under the belief that Drake tried to assassinate creative expression in hip-hop. He is suing from the beef that unfolded with him and Kendrick Lamar. We all know that, right? That's obvious. But what's a little bit more nuanced in this is the fact that this wasn't gonna just affect his relationship with UMG. This wasn't just gonna be a fallout from the beef with him and Kendrick. This was gonna affect hip-hop as a whole. Now, what Drake was alleging in this lawsuit was essentially that UMG was showing favoritism towards Kendrick Lamar. Drake had recently been in contract negotiations. His next contract was coming up, and he felt that the label was trying to favor Kendrick Lamar to push this narrative against him so that it would devalue his next contract. He specifically believes that UMG was using Kendrick almost as a bot to defame his character. UMG's claim that Drake is no longer the artist he was, and being that is the reason that they should pay him less on his next big deal. You know, Drake has always been the corporate guy, the flexing his relationship with Lucian Grange.
Billionaires talk to me different when they see my pay stuff from Lucian Grange.
We hear him brag about that in songs. We hear him brag about, oh, my contract is worth 300 mil, and that's a low ball. So for him to feel like he was slighted in this beef, I feel like that drove him even more to try to get this lawsuit off. On top of that, I feel like, you know, he tried all the tactics. He pulled out all the stops. He pressed the red button, so to speak, on the beef. He thought Family Matters was going to be the game ender. He had no idea that Kendrick had his ammunition loaded up. He was prepared and ready to go. So he dropped Not Like Us. I think Drake in his mind was thinking that Family Matters was going to be the red button. Is he going to solidify his place in hip hop? He defeated Kendrick. Now he's the rightful owner of the crown spot in hip-hop. That's what he's wanted for so long. He was caught off guard when Kendrick came back with Not Like Us, and that just threw his whole plan in a rut. He dropped The Hard Part 6, which essentially was an embarrassing flop, something that even hip-hop fans to this day, people just disregard it. People laugh off The Hard Part 6, and really what The Hard Part 6 was like an attempt at waving a white flag. He didn't want no more dirt thrown on him. He didn't want no more smoke, which is contrary, ironically, to his songs after the beef, where he's like, man, I wanted smoke. I would have done this. I would have had this plan. But either way, it resulted in a lawsuit alleging that UMG showed favoritism and used bots to further spread this narrative about him and to platform King Kendrick even more. And ultimately, in the lawsuit, I believe that by making these type of claims against UMG and against Kendrick, he was essentially trying to suppress the hip-hop artist's voice. One thing about hip-hop, beef is unique to us, you know, but it's unique to this field, it's unique to this genre, and it's culturally ingrained in hip-hop. You know, back in the day, people used to gather. We seen rap battles take place on our streets and on our corners all the time. Even before rap beef was a thing, people were freestyle on the corner and they would have these back and forths. That's a culturally, hip-hop is a competitive sport almost, like basketball, like football, like what have you, like any type of sport. Battles are common, they're natural in hip-hop, and they're almost what advances the genre forward. It's something that's completely unique to this genre, and that's something that we can claim over other genres, being that hip-hop is so competitive the way it is. I feel like with this lawsuit, Drake was trying to take that element out. I don't think that was necessarily his intention, but the potential ramifications from this lawsuit that could have failed from that would have labels censoring their artists even more because they don't want to further incentivize any other beef, or they don't want to take the risk of being potentially sued by another rapper who feels like they got slighted in a rap beef with another. So we seen the Clips even come out and allege that Drake tried to censor their album. They tried to censor their song. He tried to censor their song with Kendrick on their latest album. And that's just kind of a fallout of this potential lawsuit. UMG's like, all these big label corporations are like, we don't want any more lawsuits to happen. So people are looking at this beef as a causation of why the Clips were saying that Drake is essentially trying to censor the hip hop artists even more. I feel like that would essentially be like a hindrance to the artist and to the art form as a whole if a genre is becoming even more censored and artists can't feel the way to express themselves in the way that they see fit. Like I said, hip hop is a competitive sport. It's always about being the top dog and being the best guy. So to take that element out of hip hop and to completely change the genre's original intention, I feel like that's completely anti-hip hop and completely anti-artist. Now, ironically, it's funny coming from the person who's benefited from being on a major label the most. Drake is one of the artists that benefits from being under the major label system in and of itself. Drake is constantly put on radio. He's constantly put on playlisting. He's constantly shown to be one of the premier artists in not just hip-hop, but music as a whole. And how did he get there? Of course, Drake is a very talented artist, and that allowed him to gain his platform that he did. But his connections and his relationship with the labels, that's how he got to be in a position that he's in now. So it's ironic for that same artist to now be proclaiming that, yo, UMG used bots to spite him against me. Major newsflash, Drake. Major newsflash, hip-hop fans, every single artist uses bots, regardless of...
So Drake bots his music. That's what you're trying to say? Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure he does.
You're 100% sure?
Yo, Rock Nation, what y'all got going on, man? Rock Nation, Meg Thee Stallion, all of these people. What y'all got going on, man? How Drake telling y'all other niggas bot? Y'all trying to get at Drake because y'all think he bot? Come on, man.
Regardless of the genre, they're botting to make their numbers look better. And it's not just a Kendrick thing. It's not just a Drake thing. It's a Taylor thing. It's an Ariana Grande thing. All music genres, all these labels are using bots to further push their artists. They're using payola, they're using radio, they're using pay for play, all these different type of methods. They're using them to platform their artists. Now, is that a problem? That's something that's been going on since literally the dawn of the music business, because at the end of the day, we do got to remember it is a business. So for Drake to make these audacious claims against Kendrick and against UMG is very ironic, being that he's one of the people that benefits from labels and streaming the most. So basically, I think Drake was trying to sink the whole ship because he couldn't be the captain. He was upset at UMG for pushing a song that was naturally going to be popular. I feel like one thing about Drake is he's so isolated and alienated from everyday regular people, and he surrounded himself with sycophants like Lil Yachty and stuff like that. All these type of people in his circle, yes men in his circle. So he doesn't really understand the impact of the record. He's not hearing it around him. Nobody's playing it around him. Naturally, he's gonna assume like, man, people wouldn't go against me like this. I'm the guy. I'm that guy. But unfortunately, I see a lot of people are saying, why didn't Family Matters get the same treatment as Not Like Us? Well, we got to remember, Not Like Us was catchy. It's repetitive. It's like an earworm. It had a good beat. It's infectious, And one thing that made Not Like Us special is the fact that it unified people. It made us feel like, by saying Not Like Us, it makes people feel unified. It makes people feel a sense of pride and integrity by not being like them. It was way shorter than Family Matters. And I think that's an almost equally as important thing because it makes it easy to replay. You can spin it again. Nobody's gonna want to replay and put on radio a song that's 13 minutes. Now, Family Matters was definitely a fire track, and that can't even be argued in my opinion. I think one site had it listed as the top 5 best diss songs of all time, and I think it's definitely worthy of being in that conversation. But Not Like Us had something special. The fact that it was so easily replayable and you can dance to it. It was all around a great record. It was a perfect moment, and we saw Kendrick reap the rewards of it, being that it was his moment, winning 5 Grammys. I never saw this suit working out. And this is a major reason why a lot of artists don't like Drake. Drake could be the guy. He could be the one that be like, I'm standing up to these labels. I'm gonna go independent. The labels need artists like Drake more so than he needs the labels. So he could completely go independent and take all his awards and accolades and streams with him. But Drake loves so much. He loves being a guy so much. He loves being the number one streaming person so much that he can't possibly forego his relationship with the labels because he wants to maintain that. Think about Drake. Is Drake in the conversation for best rappers of all time? Not really. He eliminated himself from being in a debate with that after finding out that he doesn't write his own raps. So what does he have now? He has the ability to claim that, well, even though I'm not in that greatest rapper conversation, y'all still can't ignore me because I'm still on these lists for being the most streamed rapper of all time. That's what he holds on to. That's where his pride is at, being the most streamed artist of all time. So if he were to ever leave the labels, he wouldn't be able to say that he had that same ability anymore. He wouldn't be able to champion himself like that anymore. But even the labels might be able to go out and find a similar type of Drake. We had all these opportunities in the mid to late 2000s with artists like Juice WRLD, Pop Smoke, XXXTentacion, coming up, being on the come up, that were doing excellent numbers, that had they stayed alive, had they been able to reap the benefits of their hard work and stuff like that, they might have surpassed Drake. Those artists that passed away could have been the ones to surpass Drake. But ultimately, Drake was not willing to forego his position with the labels because he wanted to maintain himself as a top streaming guy. If Drake was to go independent, he could take a lot of artists with him. He could set the tone. He could be a industry trendsetter. But he's so comfortable in his position being a top streaming guy, he's not willing to forego that. Now, I feel like that's indicative of his character as a whole. Look at him versus somebody like Kanye. Kanye is willing in his prime, was willing to be somebody that's innovative, that took risks, that was daring. That showed up in his style, it showed up in his music. But Drake has never been an innovative type of artist. He's not going to put the genre on his back and be like, hey, let's go this way. The labels are moving like this, let's go this way. Nah, he's always going to be the one to be the industry yes man, the label yes man, because he wants to maintain his position at the top. But ultimately, his lack of bravery in that regard, see, he's going to sue the label, but he's going to make sure that he stays with the label so that he can still reap the benefits of being attached to this label. He's not the guy that's going to go out on the limb and even start. He got the millions to do it. He got the access and the connection, the industry connections to do so, but he's comfortable where he is. And ultimately, it's very hypocritical of him to take that standpoint and sue the label at the same time. Which is why I think the potential ramifications of this label fallout, luckily we didn't see it in a regard that all hip-hop artists were censored for their type of content and that there were no more beefs that were ever gonna happen in hip-hop. As we can see, beef can still be entertaining. The beef between him and Kendrick happened a whole year ago, and we're still being able to make content from it and still being entertained from it and still being even entertained by the music that came as a result from it. Every time Drake moves foolishly or does something crazy, people go back and the Not Like Us streams go up tenfold. So it's clear that not only is hip hop beef entertaining, it's also clear that hip hop beef is profitable. Like I said earlier in the video, beef and battle rapping and stuff like that has been ingrained in the culture since the very beginning. So for Drake to take this standpoint and be like, be the one that tries to censor hip hop beef going forward, it was gonna harm the genre as a whole, because now artists can't feel free to express themselves on the track in the way that they want to. One thing that this lawsuit showed is that the corporations are still on top. Now, I heard a lot of people saying that people are just championing UMG. It's people are more pro corporation than they are pro Drake. I feel like that's not necessarily the case. I know for me, I'm pro hip hop than pro corny shit. And in this instance, which is a very unique instance in hip hop, rapper is going against the norms of hip hop while fighting the label. Never has that ever happened before in history. Like, in this case, the label was advocating more for hip hop than the rapper going against him. We seen in plenty of cases rappers having beef with their labels and rappers not feeling like they can drop when they feel like it because they're being held back by label mandates and what have you. And in those cases, people are supportive of their artists. They're like, man, let the label let him drop. Label, please. In the case of Lupe Fiasco, people were literally outside offices boycotting and picketing at the label's offices. But in those cases, people are showing support for the artist. In Drake's case, he wasn't showing support for the art form because he felt so hurt and he felt betrayed and all of this kind of stuff. And he felt embarrassed that he had lost this battle in this particular form and fashion. And also I feel like, which is a common kind of thing for Drake, because he wasn't accepted naturally in hip hop because of him being light skinned or because of him being emotional. He's willing to forego all the traditional norms of hip hop because hip hop didn't naturally embrace him. So I feel like he has a lot of internal anger at the forefathers of hip hop for not accepting him when he initially came in the game. So that plays itself into this lawsuit on how he was gonna hurt the genre as a whole to advance himself, knowing fully well that he benefits from all of the label systems, that he benefits from being the face and being the #1 streamed artist and being a beneficiary of all the things that the label do for him. The same thing that he was that the label was doing for Kendrick, they do the exact same thing for him. But because the odds weren't in his favor this time, the people, not the label, but the people chose Not Like Us as their song. He chose to take it out on hip hop as a whole. What do y'all think, man? Do y'all agree with what I said? Do y'all think that Drake is gonna reconcile with the label? Are they gonna be a lot easier next time on him? I know that he's gearing up to drop an album allegedly, but how do y'all think that this lawsuit is gonna affect that? Do y'all think it will have any effect on it at all? Thank y'all so much for watching. Like I said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we are almost there to 1,000 subscribers. Thank y'all so much for watching. It's been your boy 50K Clay. I'm out.